What's going on, guys? Episode 5 in the next season podcast. And in this conversation, we're going to talk about the 5 values and standards that I have for myself and the athletes that I work with in next season. These are 5 standards that are going to be applicable to you and really useful for you on the field and as you develop your career and work on your career on the field, but also in life. What are values? And I think of this almost like you're a pitcher. And as you have command of your pitches, you know what you're going to attack hitters with. You know what your pitch selection is and what your pitch arsenal is. Values are the traits and the attributes of who you are at your best and the person that you want to become. When you have command of your pitches and you know what you're throwing, you know what you want to do to be able to attack hitters. And it takes the guesswork out of it because you're relying on your control, your command, and your mechanics and your presence on the mound. These are fundamental principles or beliefs that guide your behavior and your decision-making. And they represent what is important to you. They serve as a foundation for setting goals. And values can include things like integrity and compassion and honesty and grit and tenacity and family and faith. These are all examples of deeply held values that you have, and they're relatively stable over time. Typically, values are things that you want to adopt because, again, they're who you are when you're at your best and the person that you desire to become. So if there are certain characteristics or habits or attributes or values of somebody that you aspire to be like and the person that you want to become, then you adopt those values as your own and you pursue those, and they guide your behaviors and they guide your decision making. What are standards? Very similar. But standards, if you think of it now, it's like you're a batter. And so you go up to your at bat and you're looking for the pitch to hit. You're looking for a pitch in your zone, and you're not going to expand the zone until you have to start protecting the plate. Those are your standards, right? I'm not going to swing at a pitch that's out of the zone high, out of the zone low, inside, outside. I'm looking for a specific pitch and a specific count, understanding the situation, understanding where the base runners are, and what I'm trying to do in that at bat. Your standards are your level of expectation. This is what we expect out of performance. This is what we expect out of effort. This is what we expect out of how we treat each other and what kind of teammate we are. We're not going to achieve perfection, but we're constantly going to strive for it. Okay. That's the standard, right? And then there's a floor, right? There's a minimum standard, right? And then we've got the box. We've got the boundaries because of the values that you have. So those are values and standards. One thing I want to call out here real quick is I think a lot of times we hear the word expectations, and I know I say it, and I'm going to continue to say it sometimes. And I think expectations are fine. Expectations are important. It's good to have expectations of yourself. It's good to have expectations of others. But I want to caution something. If you're somebody who finds yourself to be easily disappointed or frustrated with people, maybe it's teammates, maybe it's coworkers, maybe it's relationships you have, friends, family, and they do things that maybe don't live up to your standard or maybe don't match their potential and you get frustrated by it, that might be because you have too high of expectations of them. One of the things that I found is if you focus on expectations, you lose control of that situation and you're more likely to be disappointed. If you focus on standards, you have control. That's the standard. It's not that you have the expectations of something, but you have a standard to strive towards. That gives you more control. And you can raise that bar for yourself and for others. You can constantly strive for more, but you're not going to get as frustrated if people don't meet those expectations. Okay. So that's one thing I want to call out as we're talking about values and standards, and then the importance of understanding the difference between the two, as well as the understanding the difference between standards and expectations. So let's talk about what the next season coaching values and standards are. These are 5 values that I seek of myself, and I don't want to say the expectation, but the standard that I have for my athlete. And we're going to talk through them in more detail. But again, this is the basic 5 things that I look for in myself and how I approach my conversations, as well as what I look for in my athletes. So let's jump into the 5. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. If you're following on Spotify or iTunes, you won't. That's okay. Check it out on YouTube if you want. Take notes if you can. But here are the 5 values and standards. The first is that we're present, focused, forward looking. What does that mean? It means we process the past, right? We allow the past to be. We learn from it. We reflect on that experience. We reflect on the things that went well, the things that we can do different. And then we look to implement those things in the future, right? But we process the past. We perform in the present, okay? We're fully present in everything that we do. If that's practice, if that's games, if that's work, if that's workouts, study, classroom, relationships, present with ourselves. In everything that we do, we are fully invested and present and grounded in that moment. And then we prepare for the next whatever. Is that the next pitch, the next play? Is it the next at bat, the next inning, the next game, the next series, the next week, month, the next season, whatever that is? We prepare for it by the work that we do. That's what it means to be present, focused, and forward looking. We are grounded in that moment, and then we're looking ahead towards the future with excitement and optimism and gratitude. The second value is that we're gritty. We demonstrate grit and resilience and perseverance and tenacity. We embrace challenges. Next season athletes don't just embrace challenges, but you go out and you seek them out. You do hard things because you understand that when you do hard things regularly and you overcome them, you're building resilience and you're building endurance to be able to handle when things aren't going your way, for all of the curveballs that are going to come in your way. I love working with athletes who are just gritty, right? There's no give up. There's no quit. If something's hard, if something's going sideways, they're good. They don't mind. Okay, that's what it means to be gritty. We're going to talk more about that in a lot more detail as we go through. The third is that we're raw and we're real. We tell the truth, right? And we can do it with love, with grace, and with empathy, but we're honest, right? We're authentic. We live with integrity. We're vulnerable. We're coachable. We're humble. We don't need to compare ourselves to anyone else. This is what it means to be authentic, is you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else because you know you. One of the best pieces of advice that I can give my athletes is know you, be you, trust you. What that means is you know yourself. You know what your strengths are. You know what your development areas are. You know who you are, and you accept you and you love you. You embrace you. You just are you. You don't need to be anybody else. And you trust yourself. You trust you because of the work that you do and your capabilities and your attitude. Know you, be you, trust you. The fourth value and standard that I have is play with soul. We're going to play a game. Remember, it is a game. Every time that you step on the field, you get to disconnect from everything else that's going on in the world and just play. And the reality is that's true in life too. If you're fully present in the moment, everything that's going on around you doesn't matter. But you have an opportunity to go all in and be fully present and empty the tank in that moment. So when you play with soul. That is full energy, that is full commitment, full presence in the moment, in giving everything that you've got. That's what it means to play with the soul. The last one is take to the OARS. And you'll notice there's periods between the letters in the word OARS. But take to the OARS, it comes from a Latin proverb that's been a powerful reminder in my life. And it's destitutus ventis remus adhive. Now, for those Latin professors out there, I probably butchered that. But what it translates to is if the wind does not serve, take to the oars. You're not always going to have the wind at your back pushing your sails in the direction you want to go. You're going to face headwinds. This is part of competition, and it's the reality of life. Sturgill Simpson said it best. Life ain't fair and the world's mean. Okay? You're not always going to have the wind at your back. And when the wind does not serve you, and it's going in a different direction, or not at all, you need to take to the oars. You need to take ownership, accountability, responsibility, and be sturdy. And that's the breakdown of what that means. We're going to talk more about that, I'm sure. Those are the 5 standards. These are the things that I look for in my next season athletes. When I'm having these conversations, in the work that I do and the relationships I have, I expect of myself, my standard of myself is that I own my actions, my attitude, my emotions, my words, my beliefs, my choices, my behaviors. They're mine. How I respond to things is up to me. How I handle things is up to me. And I hold myself accountable. Those are the standards that I have for my athletes. You would take responsibility no matter what, and you're dependable. If you say you're going to be somewhere, you're there. People can count on you. Your teammate can count on you. You're sturdy. You demonstrate steadiness and reliability, level-headedness, that when others' emotions are getting high, you're able to keep things level-headed and put things in perspective because, again, you're fully present in that moment. This is what it takes. Now, as we go through, we're going to talk about how these match up to the 4 pillars: talent, effort, ambition, and mindset, the 4 pillars that make up a next season athlete, and all of the attributes and all of the traits that go into making those pillars. Again, we're fully present, we're focused on the present, and we're forward looking. We're gritty, we're raw and we're real. We play with soul, and we take ownership, accountability, responsibility, and we're steady in everything that we do on the field and in life. In episode 6, we're going to break down those 4 pillars. We're going to talk about talent specifically. So for now, I'll see you next time.